Joining us from the All PHLY Eagles show, who's fantastic, my man, along with Zach Berman. They do a great job. Bo Wulf, what's up, Bo?
What's up, cuz? Happy schedule day. I'm making the backwards hat just for you. You're the only one.
Dude, you look good with the backwards. You know, it's funny. Newbeck did it too. You guys look good. I'm a backwards hat guy too. Always that way.
Like that's lounging around the house, you know?
Yeah, backwards cap without a day. It looks good on you, dude.
Yeah, come on.
The way to do it, man. Why do we? I love this. This is the most ridiculous thing in the world, but I don't think I'm alone. I love this schedule, Bo.
I think what's fun about the schedule is that that's it. It's fun. Like there's no we can just pretend about it, right? We know that things are going to change over the next 3 or 4 months, right? There's going to be injuries. Teams are going to be better and worse than they look on paper. Who like to think that we can predict a week 14 game based on how the teams look today is insane. But that's what it's all about. This is the offseason. We got nothing else to do. It's great. I agree. Like the schedule is fun. We're going to pick every game on the show tonight, and don't hold us to it. But that's part of the process.
Exactly. Like I always thought these people go, W's and L's stupid. Okay, well, intellectually, we all understand that nobody was going to pick how last season would play out, where they're 10-1 and fall off the table. Like, we understand it. But, like, that's where the fun police come in. Like, dude, like, you might have just have some fun and think about it. Like, we miss football. Around this time, Bo, is kind of when we start to miss it, right? Because you've had the draft, and the draft's great, and you're like, all right, well, what's next? And, so the schedule satiates us a little bit because we get to think about the fall and think about what's going to happen next season. And that's kind of how we consume it, buddy.
And it also makes like the looming season real, right? Right now, everything is theoretical. We've added the players in free agency and the draft, and you can pick apart the depth chart what you think it's going to look like. But the arc of the season, you can't picture it until you know exactly how it's laid out. So that's what it like starting tonight. Then all of a sudden you can really fantasize about like how the season is going to play out.
Yeah, I'm so with you. And the Eagles schedule is so interesting because you start off in Brazil. Obviously, we know the road and home opponents. The trips are tremendous. Like our buddy Vince from Philly Sports Trips is going to have a blast because the destinations are great. New Orleans, L.A., Tampa. They're one after another. Fantastic.
Not to mention Brazil in week 1, if you want to do that trip. Yeah, Tampa is one where like the Eagles have gone there a bunch in recent years, so maybe it's not as exotic. But New Orleans is my favorite road city of all the places that the Eagles go to. LA is fun. Zach was really gassing it up on the show yesterday. You have to see that stadium. He says it's the coolest new stadium. He was even he's making a good case for Cincinnati, which the Eagles they'll only play in Cincinnati generally once every 8 years, depending on how that new 17th game works out. But that's a place where like if you have no other reason to go to Cincinnati, maybe that's one to sort of check off your list.
Yeah, it was funny. The Cincinnati was always one of my least. When I was on the baseball beat. Yeah. It was always one of my least favorite towns. It's a nice town and all. I mean, it's fine.
It's fine.
Right? Like, the Skyline chili, I didn't get that. But other than the Skyline, it was all right. Like
P&G headquarters, that doesn't move the needle for you?
No. I will say this, though. They're really good fans. And, Eagles, Bengals, Barrow back.
That'll be a good game.
That's actually a great matchup.
Now, by the way, did you break this news of week 2, Monday Night Football?
Yeah, so Eagles home, Atlanta, Monday night.
Big scoop. Look
week
at you.
2. Well, I don't do it anymore, but
flex those muscles. Every
once in a while comes one just falls in my lap. You know what I mean?
Kirk Cousins coming for a primetime game for this Eagles home opener for like the 3rd year in a row.
I got to tell you, I'm so excited. I don't know what it is about next season, but like I guess we're like this every year. Every year we look ahead and go, oh man, look at the storylines. It just helps that they're good, right? Like when you have a good team, a team that you expect to compete, it's everything, right? Like it just all of a sudden you start to look at the matchups and the whole thing. Like just week 1, dude, Green Bay, that's a great game. That Packer team, I love Jordan Love. I mean, Baldy and I do all the breakdowns, and when he started hot, he went through that mini slump in the middle of the season, and then the last 7 weeks, he started to put together, and those young receivers, I mean, they come at you. They have a million of them between the tight ends and the receivers.
Can I ask you the bold question? Next 8 years, who would you rather have, Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts?
Love.
I think me too. I really like Jordan Love too.
I just, again, and I hope I'm wrong, and we'll see. I really want Jalen. I'm hoping Jalen goes back to 2 years ago. I mean, I think we all are. But I want to see, what I didn't see last year? And he played well. I mean, listen, when they were 10-1, not like he played poorly at times. When they go on that tough stretch, he didn't play well. But what I want to see is that Super Bowl. That Super Bowl Jalen Hurts as a thrower, I mean, he just threw dimes.
Yeah, it was the best game of his career on the biggest stage possible. And it's hard to forget that. I'm with you. Everything is set up for him this year. The reason that I would sort of tilt Jordan Love, and maybe it is recency bias, is it feels like to me he would age a little bit better.
Yes.
If Jalen doesn't have the full complement of his legs, would he be the same thrower as Jordan Love? And Jordan Love has done it with a lesser
exactly
supporting
it.
cast, right? But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that this season it's all about Jalen Hurts. They have set it up that way, right? They have brought in a new play caller. They have fortified the offense for him. They've given him Saquon Barkley in the backfield. If Jalen Hurts can't get back to 2022 Jalen this year, maybe even without the legs, then all of a sudden that starts to be a pretty big disappointment.
Yeah, do they? Let me ask you a question. God forbid. I don't want to go down this road of doomsday, but if he does not go back to 2022 with these array of weapons, and it's more on him when it comes to his pocket. What scared me last year was I didn't like his pocket presence. I thought, again, I thought his eyes were kind of drifting down more. He didn't see the field. He was quick to escape instead of a slide step. He was quick just to kind of bolt out. What happens? How do you how do you navigate Jalen?
I mean, I think that this is unlike the Carson Wentz situation, where if things go wrong, they were able to get out of that. I think it would be a while before they could actually get out of it with Jalen Hurts. If he has a bad year and is healthy the whole time, I think the obvious next step is probably a new coach, and they're trying to find somebody who can actually get the best out of Jalen Hurts. And then you run it back again with what should be still firepower on offense, and you hope that fixes it. It's funny because going into 2022, the Super Bowl year, all we got to hear about was this is the first time in since high school that Jalen Hurts has got to play for the same play caller 2 years in a row. And it hasn't happened since. And if it goes wrong again this year, it won't happen again, right? So you would have to hope that playing the long game is going to help in that sense. Now, to be fair, he's 25 years old. He and Jordan Love are the same age. There's still a lot of time for him to continue developing, and he has the voracious work ethic to expect that is still possible. So I'm still generally bullish on Jalen Hurts.
I am too.
But after 2022 is up here, 2023 is a little bit lower. If that continues, then yeah, that would be not great.
My first inclination is, to put it on Sirianni and Brian Johnson, right? The offense, there was not built-in answers for Jalen, right? So I got to start there before I even lay any blame at his feet. I mean, obviously he's somewhat culpable. I got to start at coaching and the preparation, So
I agree.
I'm with you. I think Kellen Moore will help that.
The health was a part of it too, right? But even that is maybe part of coaching, right? They didn't have a plan for what if Jalen didn't have the complement of his legs.
Yeah, and again, I guess this was my question. After the Super Bowl, I felt way better because you and I both know that at some point you just can't use the legs like you used to. Like it just now he's only 25, so that's not happening tomorrow. But like we went through it with Donovan, like you got to be able to throw the football, and I felt so good after the Super Bowl because like he made all the right reads. I mean, during that, he had a wonderful year 2 years ago. I mean, he was throwing dimes. I mean, his accuracy, especially with the long ball, was incredible. So I guess that's kind of what you're hearing from me, is I was a little disappointed last year in that respect.
Yeah, and he remains, you said it, the long ball accuracy, he remains one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. The numbers bear that out. Even like the completion percentage over expectation last year, when it was a down year for him, was towards the top of the league, and that sort of is a reflection of the fact that guys were not running wide open in the offense. Like the scheme was a little bit static. Now, some of that is maybe he's just throwing it to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith when they're covered closely, when there's a wide open guy who he's not throwing the ball to. Those are the passes he chooses to throw. And you would hope that over time, and maybe in the Kellen Moore offense, he's going to be willing to throw the ball over the middle of the field a little bit more than he has been in years past. But I agree that like we can be a little bit sanguine about this and let it play out. Let's see how Jalen Hurts does this year.
How much do you think they will incorporate his legs?
I think I go back to what they said when they signed Jalen Hurts, and that's also part of this conversation. Is that the quarterback contracts are only rising. The Eagles locked it in a little bit early, so even if it looks like he's a little bit overpaid at the moment, that's not going to continue. But the thing that they said was we're not paying him more to do less, and that's what it turned out to be last year because obviously whatever was going on with his lower body was happening. I think it would be like a disservice to the offense if they didn't incorporate Jalen Hurts' legs and what that can do for the larger picture. Now, that doesn't mean that he has to run the ball 10 times a game, and we can talk about whether the tush push is a part of that. But if there is just the threat of Jalen Hurts running the ball 5 times, not only will those plays lead to some first downs, but it's taking the defense's attention away from Saquon Barkley. I think that's probably part of the reason you talk yourself into Saquon Barkley from the Eagles' perspective is we know that this is a guy who can handle a workload, so that means a little bit less on Jalen Hurts' shoulders or legs, as it were. But to open things up, to make the offense as explosive as it can possibly be, they need to have Jalen Hurts' legs involved in some way.
I agree. Just from a space standpoint, it's just so hard for defenses to defend everything, right? Especially the way they're built. I mean, Howie's done a masterful job at building the offense, and just when you think about the geometry of it, the creating space on the field between Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert and now Barkley, with you add the component of Jalen's legs, and wow, I expect him to have a good year. So I'm expecting their offense to be really good.
And if we circle it back to the schedule, the list of opponents, we don't know how it's laid out yet, but it is not the most difficult schedule. It doesn't look quite as easy.
Especially the home schedule, yeah.
Especially the home schedule. It doesn't look quite as easy as 2022 when the Eagles only had 3 games against teams who were projected to be top 10 in Super Bowl odds before the season, and 2 of those were Dallas. It was Green Bay and Dallas. Last year, they had 3 games against the top 5 and 6 in the top 10. This year, it's Baltimore, Cincinnati, the 2 Cowboys games, and the Packers. Now, there's a lot of teams in that sort of middle tier where like the Rams could end up being really good, right? Or the Steelers or the Browns could end up being really good, but some of those teams could be bad too. So, as you said, like the home schedule is pretty. Even the road schedule. I mean, is going to New Orleans to play Derek Carr and Dennis Allen a concern for you? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, last thing. As a true football man, give me your 3 best places to watch an NFL game. Now, I'm not talking about the food or the culture of the city. I'm talking about the environment of the stadium. All right, the 3 best places.
Okay, I'm gonna take the link out of it. Just because I'm always there.
No, I'm talking about on the road. Yeah.
Number 1 by a mile is Lambeau. It
Yes.
is the best. And it's it's a pilgrimage to get there. You could connect like 3 times to get to Green Bay. You could fly to Wisconsin, to Madison, and drive, and then you're in the neighborhood, and all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, out pops this mecca of football, and it does feel like you're in sort of a time warp. It's the best, no doubt about it.
So one of my first games I ever covered was the NFC title game, Favre Young, Lambeau Field. Oh my God! I remember walking there. I got there super early, and there was already people there, and it was freezing. And it was the paccaronis. They had the cheeseheads, but then they had these paccaroni things, and it was just wild. I was like walking around the stadium, and it's incredible. Had a buddy of mine lived in Appleton, so my buddy Vinny, one of my best friends. So I would go see him all the time, and I would go to Lambeau, and I'd be like, this place it just feels, it exudes football.
No doubt about it. It's that's like number one. Everything else is fighting for second place. There's no comparison as far as I'm concerned.
All right, what's number 2?
Number 2. Now, I part of what I like about Green Bay, like I love the idea of like everybody can sort of walk to the stadium, and then it's a different atmosphere. So this is a completely different type of situation. But for me, it is New Orleans. Like it's kind of a rundown stadium, but it's so loud in there. It's such a different kind of atmosphere. The press box, if you're covering the game, is like all the way at the top of the stadium, so it's you get the full all 22 view, but it's so loud. It's not sequestered off. So for me, like when there's no glass separating the press box from the fans, you get so much more of the actual atmosphere of the game. So I get a lot of juice in that one. And then to me, like there are some ones that were like Kansas City is fun, but it's kind of a drive to get out there, and I think it's maybe.
No, but I'm just talking about more the environment. I thought
I know,
City would
and
be
it's
too.
like a touch overrated.
Yeah.
To me, have you been to the to the Cowboys Stadium? Because to me, that's like there is Lambeau, which is the perfect romantic, idyllic football, and AT&T is new school. Like this is what football has become: the pomp, the show, the pageantry of it.
Yeah,
that
it's an NFL strip joint, is what it is.
But it's like the nicest one you've ever been to.
Exactly, like it's
and everybody loves you.
It's got all
you can convince yourself that maybe
bells
she really
and
does
whistles.
like you there.
It really is. And listen, they did it with Vegas, but the precursor was AT&T.
Yeah, and Minnesota is nice like that too. Some people really like Atlanta, but to me, Dallas is the one. What are the other ones for you?
Kansas City's up there. I love Kansas City. I love that the way, and this is before all the Chiefs. I'm talking years ago. I love Buffalo.
Buffalo's good.
And I got to tell you, I thought you would go Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, the way those fans are, they're true blue fans, man. Black and gold.
That's true. Pittsburgh's good.
Yeah.
Now bottom 2 easily. I mean, FedEx
Carolina.
Field,
Who?
FedEx Field is the worst.
Horrible.
It's absolutely.
That's why
the
they're
worst.
going to get a new stadium. Yeah.
And MetLife is number 2. MetLife stinks.
Oh, it sucks. Yeah, I agree. I know.
Bad.
Yeah, it sucks.
No
It's horrible.
personality, nothing. Ugh, it's awful.
No, it stinks. And it doesn't even give you like the fan experience.
No.
Like they're good fans and they don't even have that stuff.
They're barely
I'm
good
with
fans.
you. Yeah. I'm with you. Brother, great chat, man. Love it. I love just BSing with you. So thanks, brother. What's on tap for you guys when you guys kick off today?
We're going prime time, baby. Schedule comes out at 8. We're going to be live right at 8 to go through the whole thing. Zach Berman, Julia running the show. Very excited. Prime time. I'll be tuning in, buddy. Good stuff, brother. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Bo Wulf checking in.
We all silly like the mayor.